Hello everyone. For the research paper, there are two different component pieces here, and there are two different things that for 2 different weeks, the 2 different content things. The first, in this overview, you're doing a research paper selecting from one of these topics below. You're doing peer-reviewed sources of full-text articles that are available through the OCC databases. The first starting point here is to pick your topic and do research, preliminary research of 5 initial articles, 5 sources, using those as the starting point to complete this summary and working thesis template for week 1. Now with that, I had the requirement on there of 5 sources, so you're adding a works-cited page. So for anyone going through that portion for the first week portion of the assignment, ignore this where it says last week's. I added that onto the overview just for one particular class section. But the first portion in the research component is summary and overview here with the summary with working thesis. Give a description explaining the research topic, one example, current social relevance of the topic, why people should care. Remember, this is third-person objective, so you're not writing anything about you or I in terms of the pronoun sourcage or anything in terms of the tone and point of view. Offer relevant background and historical information regarding the topic so the reader understands what the paper will be covering, and then offer a working thesis. Now, that is this document here. And it is fairly straightforward. You've read a little bit of content on this. It's not necessary to actually quote anything in this as at this starting point. It's just enough to give third-person objective content information, 2 to 3 sentences, as explaining what the topic of the paper would be. Real-world example, for instance, if you're saying, there are a number of reasons people might exercise on a daily basis. For example, maybe here you'd say some people exercise because they're accustomed to it from a lifetime of playing sports, or they might just be looking for good health outcomes for longevity, whatever the case may be. Those are selective and individualized for each student, or there's some basic ones that can be covered there. And then in the why people should know about the topic, this is giving some current relevance to it. Why is this something of an important topic that people might be concerned about the information presented? Again, in third-person objective viewpoint. And then at least 3 relevant background and historical details. So if you've read up on the benefits, mental and physical health benefits of daily exercise, you might give some historical context there about if you're talking United States, you might talk about this as a relevant topic because there's been a growing awareness about health and outcomes from physical exercise, and also there is an obesity issue epidemic in the United States that could be referred to in terms of giving that historical and contemporary relevance of the background information. And then a working thesis, right? You maybe refer to implicitly benefits of the day, if you're talking about health and physical and mental health benefits of daily exercise, maybe you have an implicit statement there at the bottom, or a thesis statement that refers to the potential topic sentences, right? So you might have something, the benefits of daily exercise include daily exercise includes a number of benefits for both physical and mental health, might be a good way to phrase that on there. And then that would give you an opening for on the next component of primary points of support. We'd have an indication of where you were going with the topic sentences for bodies. Now, for the works cited, as if you're adding onto this page, as opposed to doing an additional document, we would do works cited here, go over onto the side here, and then we'd add our entries below. Just change everything down here to Times New Roman, 12-point font, as we'd have our standardization as we go. And remember that entries for these, you'd have alphabetical order for your listing. You just grab the citations from the database entries that you find. You can copy and paste them in here. Just remember they should be alphabetical order, and every line after the first in each entry should be a hanging indent in accordance with MLA formatting requirements. Now, that is part 1, if you read through these directions on your topic, and then the part 2, which comes in the second week of the project, is primary points of support. So we're talking here about the potential topic sentences for your assignment, and we are also talking about giving a works cited page of 10 sources minimum. The topic heading is already given here. You just have to move this to the next page and start the works cited of your own. And again, left-hand margin for those, each one of the entries, and make sure that they're justified to the left, and then formatted in MLA. That'd be alphabetical order, and then following each opening line that's justified to the left margin, every line after the first would be a hanging indent. Remember that that is covered in your reading in the textbook too, and there's also an example page. In the chapter on MLA, there's a sample picture that's included there on top of, in addition to just the directions themselves. Okay, so for these 2 pieces here, you have the summary and working thesis and primary points of support with preliminary works cited. Both of them actually have the works cited content. The first one just has the 5 sources as stated in the other video, and then this one's going to have the 10 that are supposed to be the starting point of the paper. Make sure that you read through these and you follow every one of these as we go through for all component pieces, including these openings. Make sure that you format that works cited page on both for an MLA. Make sure that you follow all the rules for general punctuation mechanics. Make sure that you understand each one of these. Third-person objective seems to be one of the things that people are having issues with the starting point. But remember that when we get to the paper, outline and the paper, make sure that these are all followed distinctly and you're following all requirements. You've read the chapter on MLA formatting, and you're also going through and making sure that your citations are correct and those kinds of things when you're going into the outlining and drafting stages. Okay, this is the research piece. The starting point here, as I said, summary and working thesis and primary points of support. 2 different drop boxes, 2 different submissions, but it's the same content overall as a starting point. Remember, we're just getting preliminary information that we will then use for our outline, and then after the outline into our paper itself.